In 1960, a group of forward-thinking business leaders formed the Chester County Development Council. The purpose was to attract industry to the mostly agricultural county by promoting the availability of commercial land as desirable sites for industry. There were enormous opportunities for locating businesses west of Paoli, along the Route 30, Route 100 corridor at the Downingtown interchange of the PA Turnpike.
Well, before the council came about, I think individual real estate developers worked with financing banks, and they worked on their own. But when the council was available, that was an information clearinghouse. It gave developers a lot of options for properties, and it was a source of real accurate information.
And the Development Council has looked after and nurtured and advocated and discovered opportunities in every direction of economic growth, and I think we benefit from that today.
30 years ago, I had the opportunity to work with them, either on activities that I was directly involved in or on behalf of clients. It was an outstanding organization then, and remains an outstanding organization that has contributed much to Chester County.
Among the earliest leaders of the council were H. Fred Miller, an insurance executive from Paoli, and Donald N. Givler, president of Grocery Store Products Company in Westchester. John H. Ware, founder of Penn Fuel Gas Company in Oxford, served as the council's first chairman. Their shared vision was to encourage the municipalities to create commercial zoning, little of which existed at the time. They reasoned this would foster commercial development, which would lead to new jobs and tax ratables.
My father started as a home builder in Chester County in the early 60s. He looked for ways to expand, and Chester County was a place where you could get land that was inexpensive back at that time.
The industrial development financing was available then. It was called tax-free financing. And the Development Council and the Industrial Development Authority were really using that as a tool to build Chester County's industry and office and industrial and commercial development.
The Development Council in those days, they wrote out the check. And I remember bringing that check home and I put it on the kitchen table. Do you think we ought to go through with this, because we're going to have to pay that money back?
Let us be lovers, we'll marry our fortunes together.
Operating at first from the F&M building at the corner of High and Market Streets in Westchester, the council initially provided site selection services to companies, urging them to relocate to Chester County. The companies were advised by the council's first executive director, Claude Stroop, that land is cheap, taxes are low, but watch out for deer crossing the roads. Later, the council began offering low-cost financing, workforce development, and assistance in obtaining grants for infrastructure and brownfield redevelopment.
I first heard of the Development Council back in 1979 when CTDI was in only a few years of business, and we were looking to build our very first building.
The council's helped our business here, and farming business, by really fostering a balanced economic growth for this county. And we were able to capitalize on that to survive as a farm.
The CCEDC's facility, which is here in Eagleview, has become sort of a useful and efficient crossroads for businesses in Chester County to effectively share best practices and ways of getting smarter in all that we do.
By their being here, we're able to put our best foot forward whenever a new company comes into the area.
In 1962, the council moved out of the F&M building to a small structure on Route 100 between Exton and Lionville, staying there for the next 39 years. During that time, council services expanded as partner organizations, including the Chester County Industrial Development Authority and the Southeastern Economic Development Company affiliated with the council. In 2002, the council built its current offices in Eagleview Corporate Center.
The Development Council really tried to focus on managed change that would bring employment, high-income jobs, and would work with local community zoning ordinances, that it was not going to come in and bulldoze everything down. It was very, very conscious of working with local government officials and planning agencies.
Gary Smith, who started in January 1976 as assistant director, took the reins of the council in 1978 as executive director. He began to mold the organization into a smart economic development agency that facilitated and sustained collaborations, partnerships, and cooperatives through synergy and innovation. On Gary's watch, council activities have helped create over 95,000 jobs and establish more than 4,500 new companies in Chester County.
When we needed help with getting money from state through PD loans and all, the only place to turn was the Economic Development Council and Gary Smith.
The continuity of Gary Smith is a terrific resource to the county.
I have the utmost respect for Gary. He's done a fantastic job.
Gary is probably the best director of a business organization in the state, if not the country.
I don't think there's anyone better than Gary Smith to take this organization into the future, because what he has done is truly phenomenal. And I think that there's no reason to think that he and his staff can't make it even greater in the days ahead.
One of the things I love about Gary is that he seems to be an entrepreneur and he understands how business people think. And then on top of that, he loves people. And so he has this ability to connect people with their vision. And I think that's just great for any community. And I think Chester County is blessed to have him.
Today, the council is a full-service economic development entity with 35 employees, an annual operating budget of $7.5 million, and a beautiful 18,000 square foot building containing offices, meeting spaces, and conference facilities. After 50 years of growth and maturation, the council presently offers clients an extensive menu of services, such as access to business loans, workforce development, business retention and expansion services, international business assistance, and agricultural economic development. Special council programs include the Smart Energy Initiative, a partnership to utilize alternative energy, ITAG, which supports technology training across industries, and the reutilization of brownfields sites. The council currently manages 6 affiliated nonprofit organizations with an annual combined budget of $13 million. The council continues to be ably governed by volunteer board members from Chester County's business community who bring their talents, skills, and commitment to the task of keeping the council vibrant, responsive, and contemporary.
They've supported 85 corporate parks in Chester County. Without the support of the loans that we made that have exceeded $2.5 billion between the 60s and the 80s, many of those corporate parks may not have even gotten off the ground.
The future of the council looks bright. New economic issues will be addressed. New smart growth initiatives will be implemented, and new services developed to keep the economy of our county strong and vibrant. Loan programs, workforce development, business retention and expansion, grant development and support, international business assistance, agricultural economic development, community development.
The reason I think that it's good to go through the council is because of their expertise in knowing how to fit the right business in the right place.
We must continue to work for farm preservation, which is critical to Chester County. We're the #1 county in Pennsylvania for agriculture.
We can only hope and pray that, people like Gary and his staff continue to make this great contribution as we go forward.
The visions of the past will persist. You create jobs by welcoming companies to the county. Do everything you can to help them get established and grow. Build on legacies of prior council leaders like Bernie Hankin, Stuart Houston, Ellen Ann Roberts, Jim Herr, and Ivan Morris, and hire the most dedicated, talented, and committed council staff available.
Do all that, and the Development Council will be here for another 50 years, serving you and your needs in the economic development community, growing the county's economy, fulfilling it with jobs, creating ratables, and making sure this is the best quality of life of anywhere in the country to live.
Special thanks to Pico Energy and PPL Electric Utilities for providing funding to help produce this special video.